Hi, my name is Eudora Miao, and I'm glad to be at ISTF to share with you about this research effort that I've been part of. This project is called Land Use and Vegetation in the Karst Forest Agriculture Interface in Guangxi, China. It's supported by Guangxi University and Yale School of the Environment. So today I want to take you on a journey to the Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region in southwestern China. And instead of focusing only on the data, I thought that I would use the next 10 minutes to tell you a vivid story about this landscape. Great, we're here. The landscape we're in right now is around Nonggang village in western Guangxi, bordering Vietnam. This is a very interesting mosaic of protected forest and agricultural lands. The Karst landscape is known by its magnificent limestone hills, which you'll see in this photo. And these hills support lush subtropical monsoon rainforests and a range of unique plants and wildlife. In fact, a large part of this landscape has been designated as a National Nature Reserve in 1980. So this area is very unique in its conservation value. And at the same time, it's also an important agricultural land. Much of the lowland areas are now occupied by agriculture rather than forests. And while it used to produce rice and a range of other produce, today the lower elevation of Nonggang is occupied with an expanse of monoculture sugarcane, and they're mostly consolidated large-scale industrial operations. It's encouraged by the policy that aims to turn this area into the sugar capital of China. I should also point out that the local villagers are also starting to utilize the unique biodiversity resource of this area, including the famous bird species, the endemic Nonggang babbler, to establish ecotourism opportunities around bird watching. Within this landscape, we're especially interested in looking at the dynamics of the interface zone where forests meet agriculture. Compared to the limestone hill forests that are protected, these areas experience more anthropogenic impacts. And compared to the agricultural lands on the other side, these areas are impacted more by smallholder farmers rather than big corporations. They're in a gray area of ownership and usership, and the way they're managed very much reflects the smallholder decision. So in the literature, the forest agriculture interface zone is defined as the physical and economic zone where forest and agriculture systems interact, and they produce sometimes contentious outcomes. There is usually a competition for land between forest and agriculture, but this is less of an issue in this area because forests are protected strictly under the national law. In this interface zone, there are also potential benefits because healthy forest ecosystem can contribute to improving agricultural productivity by protecting forests and regulating water flow. A well-managed forest agriculture interface zone could also contribute to being a buffer zone for the longer-term protection of the forests. So now we understand that forest agriculture interface is an important zone in this karst area of Guangxi, both for conservation and for livelihood reasons. We found that there's not a ton of information about what's happening here. So we set out to characterize the vegetation in this interface zone. We had a great team of undergraduates and graduate students from Guangxi University and local guides, led by Professor Ruolin Eudora Miao. We took some reconnaissance trip to scout out the area, and then we randomly selected plots for further data collection. We collected data from 35 different sites. On each site, we sampled vegetation differently based on whether they are mostly trees, with canopies higher than 3 meters, which I'll refer to as tree sites, or if they're mostly planted with agriculture crops, which I'll refer to as agriculture sites. I will not go into the details of data collection and protocols here, but instead I want to highlight a few preliminary findings that we thought are very interesting to share. Our main takeaway is that this is a highly diverse landscape, especially when we compare it to the monoculture sugarcane that cover most of the agricultural lands in this region. In this picture, you'll see the sugarcane to the left, and to the right, you'll see the interface zone with a variety of crops, including taro roots. I think, unfortunately, my face is covering that, but you'll see other crops and trees in the background. So farmers are maintaining a diverse landscape in the forest agriculture interface zone that supports their family needs, like medicine, it provides firewood, and it provides extra cash. One of the ways that they use these interface zones is to plant landscaping trees. So on the tree sites, we found out that the vegetation composition is really dominated by landscaping trees. Farmers are planting these landscaping trees here for 3 to 5 years, and then they sell them balled and burlapped if the price is right. In this picture, you'll see the bishop tree, which is called qiufeng in Chinese, and they're loved for its deep shade and round crown shape for landscaping. On the agricultural sites, we found that they're dominated by introduced crops, but they're very diverse from site to site. Here in the photo, we have a site planted with ginger, jackfruit, and some native fruits like mandarin orange. The other popular species on the agricultural sites include macadamia nuts and sugar apples. Yum! So even as the smallholders are making more diverse personal choices about what to plant, the globalization of crops have had deep and far-reaching impacts in this area. And these crops are highly valuable because they're valued by urban consumers, and they provide extra cash for the farmers. From these highly diverse uses of land, we see the individual smallholder decisions. I think this reflects the local knowledge of farmers, because they chose these crops to plant because they know that these have high value, they know where to sell it, and they know how to plant it. And I would argue that when we design agroforestry system and restoration projects in this area, these are really critical information to consider. And there are also many more unanswered questions. This project is carried out during the pandemic, and as we all know too well at this point, COVID changes research plans a lot, and Guangxi has locked down a few times as we were trying to travel out to the field and collect data. So it has been a really challenging process. When the situation gets better, we hope to collect more data and answer questions like, how does the vegetation change from year to year? And finally, I just want to say thank you to those who supported this research.